नौसेना की ताकत अभूतपूर्व गति से बढ़ रही है।
Hello and welcome to ABP Live. We are reporting on board INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant is India's largest warship. In fact, this is Asia's largest warship that has been built by India, and it is all indigenous. According to the Indian Navy, it should be war ready by May 2023. Now, INS Vikrant was built in 2013 in Cochin Dockyard, and it has been inducted in the Indian Navy in September 2022. The 45,000-ton warship has been built at a cost of 20,000 crores. It can accommodate 30 aircraft on board, including MiG-29K fighter jets and helicopters. The warship can accommodate a crew of nearly 1,600. So far, we've seen trials happening and the landing and takeoff happening of LCA Navy, that is also indigenous, and the MiG-29K aircraft. Welcome to ABP Live, Commander. If you can tell us a few things about the aircraft carriers out here and how challenging it is, considering the fact that this is an indigenous warship. What are the challenges do you face while takeoff or landing?
As you have already mentioned, this is an indigenous aircraft carrier. So many things have been integrated and modified the way we want compared to all our previous carriers. We have learned our lessons operating aircraft from various decks, including the previous carriers, and we are trying to modify the things whatever we have. Trials are in progress. Already achieved more than 45-50 landings of fighter itself, plus helicopter trials are also in sync. So as and when we are progressing, whatever minor issues we are coming up, we are immediately resolving it with the assistance of our Indian OEMs, so as to ensure that the safe incident-free flying continues.
And what is more challenging, taking off or the landing? If you can describe a little bit for our viewers, who would be completely, they would not know the importance of the challenge of it.
Okay, now this is an aircraft carrier, it is at sea, so there is no diversion available. So takeoff is an option, but landing is mandatory, because once you are in air and if you don't land back, then you are not going anywhere. So yes, the most challenging part on a carrier is landing and not the takeoff.
And Commander, my last question to you, in terms of air dominance as well as maritime security, how much do you think INS Vikrant is going to fill that gap, considering the fact that this is all that India is doing, because it is part of Malabar, Indo-Pacific, and one of our main adversaries is China?
At present, we are in the trial phase. Sooner and later, we'll immediately join the fleet for integrated operations. And based on the directives, the carrier will move out. The second carrier, Vikramaditya, is also online. So having two carriers in two different theatres will always be there to ensure that the air dominance is maintained.
But can we expect INS Vikrant to be battle ready by this year itself?
That is something it is very difficult to mention at this moment, because once the trial phase is finished, then is the integration phase. And considering a huge carrier, it takes good amount of time for integration with the fleet.
Just for my understanding, do you think that with this INS Vikrant, when it will be fully operational, we'll be ready to face challenges from China and others?
Definitely yes.
I have with me today Lieutenant Skanda. He's going to tell us and talk to us about the entire flight deck of INS Vikrant. Can you please tell us, and for our viewers, what is this all about and the flight deck?
The flight deck of India's first indigenous aircraft carrier. The flight deck, where you can see here, it spans around 2 hockey fields. You can see we simultaneously can operate both fighters and helicopters. We have a total of 2 lifts which are used for getting the aircraft from the hangar to the flight deck, and we also have a number of ammunition lifts which are used for getting the armaments and fitting onto the aircraft. Apart from that, we have our own independent firefighting systems on the flight deck, and that is the ski jump.
Welcome to ABPLIVE, ma'am. If you can tell us your experience, the training that you are undergoing, and also how is it to be a woman, on this warship? It's India's, Asia's largest warship.
Actually, ma'am, I'm from education branch. So generally, officers from education branch, they doesn't get that exposure. But I got this exposure to come on INS Vikrant for 1 month attachment, and it's been a great exposure for me. I'm understanding how a ship works, and that is a aircraft carrier, Asia's biggest aircraft carrier. So it's been a very, very great opportunity for me.
So with the commissioning of INS Vikrant, India will have 2 operational aircraft carriers which will bolster the maritime security of the country. Maritime security has become very important for a country like India, for which it is now a significant and a crucial part of the Indo-Pacific strategic framework. The Indo-Pacific framework is now the cornerstone of India's foreign policy. India is also part of the Quad, which has the US, Japan and Australia as its other members. We've recently seen Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese visiting INS Vikrant, and he said that India is very important and partnership with India is very important as far as maritime security is concerned. Now, in terms of Indo-Pacific and also the Quad, while we keep hearing from the government that this is done in order to bolster and strengthen the rules-based and free and open Indo-Pacific, it is also to some extent, and to a very large extent rather, is targeted towards increasing Chinese belligerence in the Indian Ocean.
ये जहाज़ एक प्रतीक है भारत की आत्मनिर्भरता का, स्वावलंबन का। आप सभी जानते होंगे इसका 76% कंटेंट भारतीय मूल का है। ये एक ऐसा माइलस्टोन हमने अचीव किया है जो केवल 6 राष्ट्र इस दुनिया में हैं जो ये कर पाते हैं, और भारत अभी 5वां देश है जो इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेटा में है। आते कई सालों में हम इकोनॉमिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग होते जाएंगे, तो एक स्ट्रॉन्ग इकोनॉमी के लिए एक स्ट्रॉन्ग नेवी अनिवार्य है, और विक्रांत एक ऐसा माध्यम है जो ये हमारा ड्रीम है वो साकार करने में मदद करेगा। जैसे आप जानते हैं कि भारतीय नौसेना कई सालों से, दशकों से एक्सरसाइज करते आ रही है फॉरेन नेवीज़ के साथ, बायलैटरल, मल्टीलैटरल। पहली बार उन्होंने ऐलान किया है कि जो मलाबार एक्सरसाइज होगी वो इस बार ऑस्ट्रेलियन कोस्ट के पास होगी। तो ये बहुत सिग्निफिकेंस रखता है कि हम कैसे एक साथ मिलके काम करें, एक दूसरे नेवी की हाउ डू वी को ऑपरेट टुगेदर। इट इज़ अ स्टेप फॉरवर्ड टुवर्ड्स दैट। देखिए, ये तो भारत मूल का हवाई जहाज़ है, तो एक तो मेरे को बहुत गर्व हुआ खुद को कि मेरे डेक पे ये जो इंडिजिनस एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर के डेक पे एक इंडिजिनस एयरक्राफ्ट जो ऑपरेट कर रहा है कंटिन्यूसली फ्रॉम द डेक, उसमें PM ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज़ देयर। व्हाट कैन बी बेटर सिग्नल टू द वर्ल्ड दैट इंडिया इज़ केपेबल ऑफ ऑपरेटिंग, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, ऑपरेटिंग एन एयरक्राफ्ट एज वेल एज एन एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर। As I said, that any carrier world over, if we take examples of other nations also, it takes a finite time for gestation of transiting from commissioning to operating aircrafts and achieving full combat potential. Within 5 months of commissioning, we have been able to operate aircraft, and this is just first step. Thereafter, we would build on this and integrate with the fleet, as well as integrate all the aircrafts which are possible. Training of pilots will also be undertaken from this platform.
With Naman Mehra on camera, this is Nayanima Basu signing off from INS Vikrant.